Fuck yeah, bruv! Pressure gauge! The rest is garbage. Нет, блять. The rest is massive garbage. But we got a pressure gauge. Shit was money, dude. That shit is fire. Look at that. 300k. 400k. I need that though. Проблемня. Проблемня. $40. No bid, no bid. Not bid, not bid. Thermometer, suck it. Проблемня. Let's go warm up.
Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and to started. Start spraying water and create an arc for the plane to taxi through. What's up with that? In the earlier days when ocean liners were inaugurated for their first trip overseas, fireboats would line up and use their water cannons to spray an arc over or near the boat to signalize and congratulate its maiden voyage. Now, the same ceremony was then performed when they arrived at ports for the first time, adding the new destination to their route network. So you see, the water salute is not unique to airplanes, it's actually the mariners who started it all. So in the 1990s, Salt Lake City International Airport started saluting retiring Delta airline pilots with a farewell water salute, which then became common practice. So rumors say that's where all the water spraying started. But there's a little more to it than just a beautiful water arc followed by a rainbow. Now, to create the arc, you need two very powerful aircraft rescue firefighting trucks, a taxiway wide enough to place a truck on either side of the plane. Consider wind speed and direction, as you do not want to drench boarding passengers at a nearby parked low-cost airline. And obviously everything needs to be coordinated with ATC. Now, once everything is set up, the firefighters wait for the arriving plane and listen via ATC for their signal to shoot roughly 3,000 gallons of water over the plane. Now, you immediately think, what a waste of water. Well, you have to see the benefit of this action. Now, luckily, firefighters only rarely have to use the water cannons of their rescue trucks, and therefore it's good practice to test the equipment now and then to ensure everything is working properly. Now, all this excitement, but what for? Now, there are many occasions for a water salute or a so-called shower of affection. Now, for example, airlines which have added a new destination to their route network get welcomed by the airport with a water salute. Now, here you can hear the KLM captain of an Airbus A330 addressing his passengers that they will be greeted by the fire brigade as this is their first flight to Edmonton, Canada.
As this is our first arrival at Edmonton Airport, we will be greeted by the fire brigade with a so-called shower of affection. Dames en heren, vanuit de cockpit nogmaals de eerste.
It's good practice by the captain announcing the rare welcoming, otherwise seeing fire trucks lining up with all their lights on and spraying water onto the plane could cause panic among the passengers. Now in this example, Etihad has been flying to Casablanca for the past years, but now operates this route with a new Boeing 787-900, so the airport congratulated the new addition to their fleet and welcomed the passengers and crew upon arrival. And this example here shows the arrival of a Boeing 777 by Qatar Airways performing the longest commercial flight from Doha to Auckland, New Zealand in 2017. Now a little contest, how much fuel and how many passengers were on board that flight? Comment below and the correct answer gets pinned. A more seldom event can be seen when airlines officially shut down their operation and get a water salute at the destination for the final and last flight ever. I've been there, done that, and I do not need to see that again. And then there is the honorary tradition to farewell a retiring captain with a water salute on his or her last flight. Now this obviously needs to be planned in advance by the airline as airports don't know when pilots retire. But I've heard the funniest stories that co-pilots contacted the airport authorities via ATC ordering the water salute whilst the captain was on the toilet. Now, so everyone was waiting on the ground as the captain came in for his last landing. I personally haven't had the experience to join a captain on his last flight, but I've heard from other colleagues that the cockpit becomes unusually quiet as this is a very emotional way of saying goodbye to his airline and especially to the plane he has flown for the past years. And this is how it could sound on ATC.
Delta 407, I'm getting the feeling you're about to retire. The cannon salute's a bit of a giveaway. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And by the way, that's Kennedy Steve. Ever heard of him? Just type in Kennedy Steve and you'll find the most interesting and funniest ATC conversations from JFK ever. And by the way, Steve, if you're watching, please contact me. I would love to have an interview with you. So what you see here is not a water salute and often gets mistaken. This is actually a plane getting washed. A lot of military and search and rescue aircrafts which fly low or hover over salt water get a proper wash now and then to prevent corrosion. So nowadays these water salutes are a total eye-catcher for plane spotters and waiting passengers. So what started as an unofficial gesture in the 1990s by Salt Lake City airport officials is now common practice all over the world. Luckily, I have many more years to fly until my final water salute. By the way, if you have seen any other traditions at airports, please comment below. I'll be happy to read about your experiences. That's it.
Up until now, the majority of the slapping tournaments we've seen have taken place in Russia, with these giant manimals laying down some of the fattest, greasiest, brutal slaps we've ever seen. But what happens when you take the slapping tournaments to the land of the Greece, the home of Greece? I'm talking America, baby. American slapping tournaments seem to be on the come up. I didn't even know these existed until now. I thought there was fucking Geneva Convention rules against this kind of thing taking place on this home turf. But my god, I'm happy to report that Slap Fight Championships is a good old American, red-blooded, patriot, God-fearing sport with some giant men slapping each other. Their rules are different than the Russian ones we're used to seeing. They're not quite as good as the original, but it's still some great slapping. Let me show you a few rounds here.
1, 2, 3. Oh! He took it! 1, 2. Oh!
Now the first major change that you'll notice is the structure is different. This is going to be the entire match, 10 minutes is between these two gentlemen here, whereas in the Russian slapping tournament you're used to kind of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster where they're bringing in all kinds of different fighters to fight each other, and you never really see the same people throw more than maybe 5 slaps. Here, it's a fucking 10-round slugfest. You're going the distance or you're dying along the way.
One.
What is this raid right now? Don't even need to engage a single unit. You can just get the hell out of here. What the fuck is this raid? No Ledex, but I got Vertex, I got, you know, everything. Fuck it. Don't need XP, don't need kill. I'm out. Nice. What in the world was this? Nice.
Definitely not a bad slap, and it was certainly powerful enough to have him turn to his coach immediately to ask him for advice as well as maybe some oxys for the pain. However, a big rule difference that I don't really like in this is that they have to do the same technique pretty much, where they count out 1, 2, 3, all straight armed, stiff armed, like they're having a fencing response after a concussion. So it just leads the slap to kind of all looking the same, and the only difference, the only variance is in how much power they put behind it.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Slapped the fucking cotton ball out of his ear on that one, and the coach had to catch him and remind him where he was and what he was doing, as well as who he is. That was a big boy slap. And even the man who threw that's taking some damage of his own, because he's starting to bruise on his cheek pretty badly. It's becoming very noticeable. So the slaps are definitely powerful, and the boys are definitely big. I just don't like how the form has to remain exactly the same every time.
2, 3.
The amount of time Zeus almost gets knocked out and starts like fucking wobbling and stumbling around like an alcoholic father coming home late at night is nuts. His resilience is the best I've seen in the entirety of professional slapping circuits. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Zeus is getting his ass fucking blasted. He's coming back and packing meat of his own. But I'm telling you, Zeus gets absolutely brutalized. It looks like the end of God of War 3. coach. He clearly wants to help, but there's nothing he can do shy of giving him a fucking sensu bean or something. It's just tough, man. Unless you got that Dragon Ball Ace up your sleeve, you're not gonna help your boy Zeus right now. Right now, he's just locked into a battle of wills. But I bet if he tuned into my streams at twitch.tv/voicecritical, he'd have a stronger chin all around. Zeus surprises him with a little cheeky sneak attack right there, going on only the one count, and gives Frank a new bruise right next to the other one, so now it's got a friend. He's gonna start looking like the fucking Joker right now, asking how he got these scars. This shit is good. It's getting kind of heated right now. That was a little bad sportsmanship right there. And that's the end of the first match. I believe Frank won. And again, it's good slapping. I don't want to disrespect any of the athletes here. It is good slapping, but I don't like the perpetual straight arm, only one angle of approach. That leads to all techniques looking exactly the same. Whereas in Russia, the Russian slapping, the original, it's a fucking free-for-all. It's a wild, wild west. You can use whatever form you see fit. Y'all people doing like, pop-up the one brings it all the way back here and damn near does like a 360 no-scope slap. You can do pretty much anything. You can fucking go between the legs, behind the back slap. Whereas here, you're locked into the same technique across all competitors and all athletes. And I don't like that. I like the freedom of letting the athletes choose the most comfortable position. As long as the impact is in a sportsmanlike place on the cheek, I'm totally fine with it. You can get there by any means necessary. I don't like having to block into the same technique. I think that just holds it back a bit. You can tell this is the first time Big Mike has been seriously slapped. He looks almost a bit offended, definitely caught off guard and he wasn't ready for it, but he is now adapted and he locks down on that chin for the rest of the match. He looks a little bit like his Call Me Kevin got fucked by Chris Farley. So definitely got a cool look going for him, and I'm sorry to say for the Destroyer, but he unleashed the demon inside of Mike because he comes back with some fucking fury. Yeah, by fury, I meant some real wet noodle slaps. He needs to get warmed up. I actually think this is his first time ever competing in a slapping tournament, and he's coming on the big stage in the heavyweight division, so he needs to get himself acclimated to the environment. But he's definitely got a strong defense, which is very good. Yeah, you knew it was only a matter of time until that hat got fucking blasted off of his head. It's like Chekhov's gun in movies. If you're showing a hat, that shit's gotta get blasted off. We've seen it in every slapping tournament with every competitor. If they wear a hat, they're losing the hat. Yeah, this one wasn't the best of slapping matches, no doubt about that. But not all of them are going to be some full nuts to butts, high throttle, high octane, pure diesel action that we're used to seeing. I just thought it was worth showing a more lower on the totem pole tier list here, slapping match. Slap fight championship round I was able to find, well, I don't think the slap limit or anything special. The damage that the man on the right takes, I believe that one's Cody, the damage he takes is wild. You can really start seeing the wear and tear across his entire body. Pay very close attention to the left cheek of Cody. As this slap fight round progresses, his cheek swells more and more, looking like a water balloon being filled. There are fake titties being made until by the end of the match, it looks like Ed, Edd, and Eddy when they have a jawbreaker in their mouth. Take a look at this after-action carnage here. He definitely put up a very noble fight against his opponent, but his cheeks were just not ready to rumble in this Thunderdome. Yeah, so this was the first of hopefully many American slapping tournaments, because this sport could have a huge role in the American sports society, I guess. I don't know, I just liked it. It wasn't as good as the Russian ones, but it certainly wasn't bad. Couple rules that I didn't overly love, but still very good. That's it. So yeah. When you look at me, what do you see? Just a man? Or perhaps you see a man that could potentially be extremely efficient at laying the long dick of justice down. The next John McClane, perhaps. John McClane is...
So what do we do now?
We get out.
You let me down, officer!
You hard jump for a second?
No, I was calm the whole time.
Yeah, as you can see, my reflexes and reaction time would make even Google's quantum computer jealous and envious. Now, to give this some context, this exercise was to simulate a traffic stop and then not knowing what's going to happen. My partner is my good friend Andrew, or Hugbees on YouTube, and he's gonna have a video on this if you want to see it from his perspective as a 6'4" giant monster man. And obviously what happened is the two officers playing the criminals got out and went full nuts to butts action mode with their shotguns and just fucking blasted at us.
There's nothing. Oh, there's that. There's a wire right there. Go back for it. I could not even see him. Because all the impact. Oh, I'm dead. He was shooting my arm. Could not do anything. They are fucking OP, to be honest. Damn, I got the juice last raid. This one, nothing. Or a graphics card, not bad. Pays the key card. Fuck it, I'll buy it.
my instincts kicked in, and I went. I just fucking love this show, man. This is really good. This is like Billy the Exterminator for the modern age.
When I was 16, I followed the sound of an anvil and a man supporting a knife. Got to watch it being done, and I've been making knives ever since.
It's a weird origin story. Followed my uncle down a dark alley, and he showed me an anvil, and well, the rest is history. Now I'm here on this show making knives.
Everyday thing, so it's not any big challenge for me.
I'm a 5th degree black belt on Reddit. I've never lost an argument on R News, and I'm here to make a sword. Crusader sword. Upvotes to the left.
We're African-inspired, very curvy knives and swords.
Why is that? A fetish?
Taking a Japanese short sword.
Of course it's Japanese. This is the biggest fucking weeb. This is like a final level weeb.
The stakes are somewhat high for me. I have a lot to prove.
You start with anime, you go to manga, then you're jerking off to hentai, then you're making your own fanfic, and then you become a Japanese blacksmith. That's when you reach max level weeb. Dave's gonna spend the majority of his time just getting in his kimono and getting all of his pop action figures out. He'll take a manga reading break while he's waiting for his metal to cool off.
I don't like to use ironwork. I feel that the ornamental ironwork actually brings a different perspective to forging of knives.
Yeah, uselessness.
If I win the competition,
They're usually
I
here
will
testing
have exceeded
effectiveness.
my own expectations,
I
and
put 3 condoms on the end of my blade for the aesthetic. What do you mean it doesn't cut? Who cares? It looks cool.
2 hours to go.
I painted flames on the hilt for the aesthetic.
Going to the hammer. This is where he might be able to make up some time.
I'm very worried about being behind.
What a cool machine.
Limited amount of time and
Just keeps slapping the metal.
Oh, when my daughter turned 5, I made her a rapier sword. Not everybody that age gets a sword. It was taller than her.
Yeah, why would you do that? Yeah, no, it's pretty dumb. My daughter died 3 months after in an unrelated rapier accident. It wasn't the sword I gave her, I swear to God. Freak accident.
But I don't have
Great
that
sword.
luxury now. I have to cool it off.
God, weebs are fucking awesome, man. This man's making a fucking flaming sword like it's straight out of a video game.
Just a race against the clock.
The pressure's on, and I need to get it done.
You'll do fine, but you're not beating Dave. Dave has not only made a small katana, he has also made 3 figurines from his favorite anime, Boku no Pico. Whatever. Forgot the fucking name of it.
I have to add a hamon in this thing.
the tang is definitely going to be a problem. With the blade being so heavy, such a small tang can affect balance.
Who gives a fuck about balance? Just be stronger.
The ability
Easy.
to recuperate and not feel it.
Work out harder.
Dave, step up to this. But overall, it's a very nice play.
Good.
Thank you. You were calm and cool all throughout. How much
Yes,
of that
yes it
was
is.
strategy?
You're unqualified to judge me. I'm 10 levels higher than you. But thanks anyway.
It's just what I do.
I think the overall concept,
A load line?
it's hard to see any. I mean, there is some, but it's so low. And if you do not have
It
a
looks
hard
good.
edge all the way up, then it's not a fun
If these guys send Dave home, then they're racist against weebs.
here, right here at that joint. And you want a lot of meat, you want a strong section there. And having the tang this thin just worries me.
Okay, so we have 4 blades.
Imagine being afraid of a tang. Fucking insult.
We're gonna eliminate
Whatever, Nielsen. Tang looks fine to me right there.
Gabriel, you didn't make the cut.
Gabriel, we really appreciate the work you put into your
What?
Just the Hamon line.
His name was
You can only
Gabriel
see
this
it
whole time?
one or two
I've been calling him
sides
Dave.
of the blade, and it was
What the
extremely
fuck?
close to the edge. Sure.
I don't know about Dave's. I don't think this is getting very far. Slides right out and stabs him in the dick. I want to kind of strike. So far, so good. Wow, I was proven real wrong. That got kind of deep.
Will test how well your weapons
Yeah, Doug!
in a sharpness test.
Next up, Doug is gonna flex sexually and say, it will cut. For 3 minutes. Whoever doesn't ejaculate, loses.
If you're bleeding on most battlefields, the most famous Crusader sword was the legendary Excalibur.
Yeah, baby. Your task, recreate Excalibur. Superpowers included. His sword is going to be held together with epoxy. I made the blade out of some trash I found in the dumpster outside, and the hilt is held together with this very strong epoxy. Will it cut? Nope. But I made it quickly. It's just called a longsword. No one calls it a Crusader sword. Longsword's probably owned by UMG, and they didn't want to get copyright striked.
This is going to perform without fail. Everything's good there.
Yeah, but that's boring, Dave. Dave's like the missionary-only sex of blacksmithing. I make the most boring swords ever, but yeah, they work. Sexy Pete's gonna come out here with a fucking Wi-Fi enabled Crusader sword, and he should win, but he probably won't, because it won't cut very well, per usual, but whatever. See, like, this is cool. He makes cool shit. Nice. I like that, Sexy Pete. No, it just means he brought something boring but works well. Never mind, he colored it blue. That's cool. I used food coloring in my blade to make it green. Pretty sure I've been to this exact place. Isn't this one of those restaurants where you eat like a turkey leg and men in armor hit each other?
I killed the whole server, I think. Wow, I had no clue Rasha was there. I got caught off by surprise. The only hit he hit me, I died. I could not hit him at all either. It was hilarious to be honest. I had a pistol in fact, I could have used it.
Yeah. I think it's gonna kick butt.
Dave,
Ass.
how was your
Pete.
5 days?
It's gonna kick ass or dick
I kept it
or
simple.
pussy.
I decided
It's a
to
blacksmithing
feel what I
competition,
know.
Pete, not a church service. I want you to say kick some fucking ass. Imagine the plot twist if that's not just like a dummy in ballistic gel. It's Gabe hand-tied behind him, and next to him is Matt. So they just take the losers and throw them in here to die.
That's a lot of power.
That'd be some like galaxy brain evil schemes.
I ain't gonna get any readier.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh, this is looking like a clean one. Well, that sucked.
Splashing feels good.
Doug's about to unleash his Bankai.
Let's see if it'll cut.
His Bankai releases another Doug, equally as sexy, who says it will cut. Oh, they must have got some pushback from it being red. They changed it to blue blood,
Like a spear.
like a Halo
Beautiful
Covenant.
thrusting capability.
Come on, Dave. Really thrust that bad boy down there. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, man. Dave, stop. He's already dead. Pete's a defeated man. Please. Don't hurt his pride even more. Yeah, it's fucking stinky. Yikes. But it looks cool. Yeah, and I bet fucking boring ass Dave's blade is gonna go through all 3 like butter. Great. But it looks like a fucking common sword you'd find in an MMO. Like with 6 attack and 6 strength. Not a horrible sword, not a great one, but it's fucking boring. Oh, maybe not. No, god damn it.
Yeah, boy, Dave know how to forge.
You're making Dave uncomfortable. Can you stop, Dave? You're making the other Dave very uncomfortable. He loves that sword. He was gonna give it to his 5-year-old daughter again.
A lot of stress in that blade.
A lot of stress in Dave's body as well.
Ever had as a knife maker?
Why? Isn't that what you make it for? Seeing my blade used made me sick. They didn't just throw it in the trash and I was livid they were using it. It belongs in a dumpster.
You are the Forged in Fire champion. Congratulations.
Style. Form over function, baby.
Felt great in the hand.
Fuck you, Dave. Your shit's boring.
Boy, it just bent right over the top.
Thank God.
And a heat treat issue like that.
Test my skills against people who have also won.
So we have a Weeb in the Champions Edition, baby.
I want to see if I'm as good as I think.
Fire Champ. After my win in season 2,
Shit, I don't know.
going into this
That's a cool Harry Potter scar blade too.
entirely on the task at hand.
Bladesmiths.
Okay, I'm betting 5 on the manga enthusiast there. I'll stick with that.
Keep in mind in the second round you will have to craft a handle and attach it to your blade.
The Alpha Chad host that we're used to seeing here has changed his hairstyle. He looks like Weird Al now.
Hammering through a 12-inch
Usually it's pulled back. This is odd.
inset in
But we saw Ben win a competition though. And Ben is the only one out of these 4 we've seen win. That's big coming from Doug. Doug has wielded every weapon on God's green earth throughout all of history. Should it be the toughest thing he's ever used? That's huge.
Everyone else I felt like I had a fair chance against, but I'm not sure with Bert.
Why? Why is he afraid of Bert's big dick? Jesus! What are you doing? Bert's not that good looking. Christ. Yeah, look at your boy. He can't even put a blade in the condom? Yeah, okay. Good work, Ben. Oh. Nice, Ben. You're really killing it out here. Hey, try bare-handing it. It doesn't look that bad.
I'm a little bit worried about Matt.
Come on.
I'm not feeling so good.
Did you not work on your
Starting to have
cardio?
trouble breathing, and I feel like I can't catch my breath.
Oh god. Well, my my bet guy is having a heart attack right now. My racehorse. Well, yeah, I lost $25. Just went home.
As I sit outside, all I can think of is this is going to cost me the competition.
Yeah, and me $25.
I need to.
If the other blades here are finished and his blades isn't, it's the count against you.
Right, absolutely.
You don't say, Doug. If the other three guys turn in a knife that's complete, and his is just this hunk of piece of shit that he dropped on the floor, he might not win. Yeah, he got some G fuel in his veins, and now he's ready.
But the red clock on the wall says I can't.
It was a bit more of a challenge.
If my boy makes it out of this round after having an asthma attack and leaving, coming back and winning, man's gonna be hoisted over their shoulders as a hero.
It's now time for the judges to. Is that a crack right there on the spine of Bert's?
That almost looks like sabotage.
Oh, yes.
That was very nefarious there.
That's a big problem.
What?
3 to 4 inches down the
Did he hit it with a hammer himself or something?
I wonder if it's from constantly heating. And
He's on my side. He must be in the
trying
Twitch
to
chat.
fix those inclusions.
Right.
Trying to make sure I earn that 25
And then
bucks on the
finally,
bet.
Matt's blade. These bladesmiths has to go.
It's Bert,
Doug Heavy
and it's all because the announcer sabotaged him. I'll take it.
Yes, sir. But when we looked a little closer, you've got a large crack going down the clip of your blade. We have to let you go.
Bert.
He's shocked. He's like, wait, what?
But today,
No, I don't. What did you guys do to it back there?
I didn't lose.
I had some delamination, but I didn't have a fucking crack.
Cleaner 9 as I left. I said.
I honestly think they sabotaged Bert's blade.
That's easy to say when you win.
Fucking ran it over with a car or something. I don't know.
Kids take risks.
Fully functional weapons.
Can someone crank the air conditioning up for my boy Matt so he doesn't pass out again?
That remain from round
Maybe
one.
have some big-titted women feeding him grapes to keep his energy up as well.
Required to use two.
Find a couple voids.
Knock off Dr. Disrespect. Salim?
If I wasn't.
Just because he has a fucking mustache doesn't mean he's a knockoff Dr. Disrespect.
But they're not.
But honestly,
You have to accept
if
that you
Twitch
can't
chat
go
thinks of
back.
him that way, he should start streaming. You could be like Dr. Smith
possibly
Respect
can.
or something.
Time I have left.
Just fucking capitalize on it, I guess. Salim, I'll be your manager. That could be huge. Salim, think about it.
I choose black paper micarta.
When it dries, it will resist the acid and leave a shiny spot where it was.
Jesus, Ben is unbeatable. He knows like every life hack for blade work.
5 minutes, I just did my nails. I pulled it out
If
of
you
the edge
ejaculate
and
on the
I
tip of the
didn't see
blade,
pattern that I
it
did
makes it
with
10
nail
times as sharp.
nail polish. The rest of it was a
I'm not sure, but even though he kind of fucked up at the end, it still looks good. It breaks. Nielsen was putting a little extra muscle behind those hits. Never mind. Oh, well, it kind of breaks.
Oh.
You hit it really hard instead of only medium hard. See, like, he's barely even hitting Ben's blade. Like, he's hitting it as, like, a medium rare. Meanwhile, he was slapping Salem's with, like, a well done.
Still solid. Everything's still sharp.
I hope they use a toy hammer for Matt's. Just let him get in the finals, please. Ben's is gonna chop it in half in one swing. Yeah, Jesus. Ben's blade was so sharp, just him winding it up was enough to slice that rope in half. It just doesn't look sharp. It looks strong, but not sharp. I was wrong. If Matt beats Ben, that'd be the biggest upset in Forged in Fire history. What is that? Is he making an asbestos sword? What the fuck was that? I hope somebody in like a drive-by display just throws a hammer out of their car window and hits his fucking blade till it bends. That's the only chance Matt has of winning this. And he's thinning it out even more. Pretty soon it's just going to be a piece of paper on a stick. Oh, good lord.
So I suck at cutting with a two-handed sword.
No, I think that was the sword, Matt.
We'll see what happens.
That sword warped around like a fucking pool noodle. Yikes. Uh-oh. Ben's over here in the fucking flames of Mordor crafting the one sword to rule them all.
Absolutely.
Oh, that looks really cool, Ben. Fuck. Okay, Matt wins with the fashion though. Well, actually, Dave's wearing a skirt, so he wins, but Matt's second place.
Wrought iron anchor chain, and I inlaid a little bit of 24 karat gold for some.
Ben, you are too good at being a blacksmith. You're disqualified. Holy shit. There's 24 karat gold in there. I put a few diamonds in there. If you open it up... Find a little cereal prize that I put in there as well. Well, Matt's blade is going to explode when they shoot it.
It's exactly the same.
2, 1, engage.
I can't believe it didn't explode. You can't count out the weebs, man. Holy shit. This fucking blade nearly shattered in half when he hit it with a pineapple. Let alone a bullet coming out of a scoped revolver or whatever that was.
I can hear my heartbeat.
Damn. Ben's sword is so sharp, I wouldn't have been surprised if it deflected the bullet back at the judges. We've watched a lot of them here. Oh, it's so wobbly. Is that supposed to happen? It's like using a fucking rolled up piece of saran wrap to swing. Please get stuck. Nah, well, I can already see it basically went through. Editor fucked up on his job there. Alright, he already spoiled the money shot. Ben, you're going to jail. Matt wins. As long as Matt's blade doesn't fucking slinky around a punching bag or whatever next test they do, Matt will win. And my $25 is secured. In the preview, we saw a bunch of claymores wrap around it.
And I will try to cut through these pig carcasses with one chop.
Doug, take it easy on my boy Matt. Oh god.
Suffered catastrophic failures on this very
yeah, they
test.
fucking blasted off of that pig.
Your blades can do.
That's probably why I'm not a blacksmith. No! Doug, do it again.
It didn't break. That's important.
The wind. It was the wind. Bad weather conditions. Please take it on a second date. It gets bigger. It's a grower, not a shower. Hit it again, Doug. It'll slice it in half. I hope Ben shatters. It's not going to. I lost. God damn it. Oh shit. What a slaughter.
That's razor sharp.
The manga test, yeah. Whoever can read manga the fastest wins. That's how they settle the tiebreaker. It's pretty basic, honestly. That's like something a level 2 goblin would drop in an MMO. It doesn't look very good. Ben's blade is fucking awesome. It's like an exotic.
Gentlemen, both of you. Ben,
Yeah.
congratulations. You are first two-time Forged in Fire champion.
That sounds about right.
Matt, unfortunately.
Let's take a look at all of the things you didn't notice in the trailer for Half-Life Alyx. There are a lot of particles, smoke and volumetric lighting used in the video. I wonder if this stuff will be overused in VR because it looks really cool in 3D. Where do you think all this electricity is coming from? Could it be from this enemy, found later on in the trailer? A new type of enemy? Enhance. Scissors and screws are on the shelf here. Do you think you can use them as makeshift weapons? I know what you're all thinking. What excellent subsurface scattering. The alien's legs are thin enough for you to be able to see the light through them. Now this isn't new tech. I think I first saw it on the demo Luna, and this was back in 2005. In other words, this tech is old enough to be in Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2. Also, I wonder how close a view of this you'll get in this game, and how you're supposed to pull a headcrab off in VR. This game is set between the two existing Half-Life games, but just after the 7-hour war where the Combine attack Earth in the first place. You can see them constructing the Citadel seen in Half-Life 2 here. This game is made by Valve. There's a lot to see in this shot. A Strider in an exoskeleton carrying a lookout tower. I wonder if part of the game will be set up here to give everybody vertigo and motion sickness. Also, it reminds me of this bit near the start of Half-Life 2. And this park reminds me of another bit early on. They've deliberately shown all of the same park rides as they had in Half-Life 2 here. What I think happened here is that they made a demo for Half-Life VR using Half-Life 2 assets, and people spent more time than expected doing random stuff in the park, so they decided to keep it in. I expect this to be one of the first places you see, and you'll be free to play about with all these things. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense for this game to be in VR. Half-Life 2 was all based around its cutting-edge physics. All of the puzzles and environments were made deliberately to showcase physics, and the gravity gun was your way of interacting with it all. VR makes more sense in Half-Life 2 than it does in most games. They said in an interview that people had fun with VR even when the graphics were rubbish, but they went and did it all in Source 2 anyway. That being said, you can still make out the polygons on the wires over here. Most of the bricks surrounding the doorway are flat, and the bottom of this hedge is disappointingly flat as well. And if anyone can explain why the shadows on these wires suddenly cut off halfway up a flat wall, please let me know. Valve please fix. Just as the Citadel was the thing you headed towards in Half-Life 2, I expect this floating ship to be what Half-Life Alyx is based around. And I wonder if you're meant to sabotage the power cables leading to it at some point. I have no idea how this puzzle is meant to work, but I fully expect it to utilise VR and your hand controls, so I don't think it can be compared to anything we currently have in games. That being said, it does look a bit like Pipe Mania. As for what this is, the more I look, the less sure I am. It's on a track, so you'd think it's a train of some sort, but that front bit really doesn't look like it can move along the track, yet fits perfectly with the rest of it. So is it a vault door to the inner part of the city? A train undergoing a transformation? Or a loading bay for a train that's about to arrive? Or something completely different? Place your bets.
I'm with you every step of the way.
The first friendly person we see. Character models were something very important in Half-Life 2, being ahead of their time by several years. It looks like this game has adopted a more cartoonish look, not too dissimilar to the facelift the models in CSGO have received these past few years. He's wearing some kind of biohazard suit here. I assume that because it looks just like what this poor guy's wearing. I think you're charging up or activating your gravity gloves here. As you can see, these things are made out of makeshift microwaves turned on their sides. I assume that you have no HUD, no crosshair or anything in VR to get in the way of the immersion, so So instead your health and ammo are shown on your left hand, on nice little glowing displays. Later we also see a torch attached to the left hand. I'm actually looking forward to using a torch in game, shining it into all kinds of weird nooks and crannies. I don't know what these two green lights mean, but they're red later on. And these come on as your hand's going into the health machine, so maybe that means you can't use it for anything else while the red light is showing. Also, an engine warning sign shows up on this screen here. And this next sequence is nice as well, reminding me of the bit in Half-Life 2 where Barney drops you the crowbar. If we slow it down enough, I'm happy to report that the bullet does fire out the direction the gun was facing at the time. I'm sad the glass particles fade away almost instantly. These gloves are the game's gravity gun, it seems. It makes sense, as Alex was the one to give Gordon the gun in the first place, so who knows what steps went into developing it initially. And for VR, it helps to pull stuff towards you because if you're in a restricted space or are sat down to play the game, yes that is an option, then you won't always be crouching down to pick up stuff, and sometimes it may simply be out of reach in your play space. I can imagine VR scales nicely as you use a bigger and bigger zone though. Now's a good time to talk about movement in VR. You can see Jeff in a room here, teleporting about in Half-Life Alyx, with brief black blinks between the transitions. Though the website says it supports 3 different styles of motion, the other 2 being a smoother transition between the zones. I am worried about motion sickness with some of these. I have never been travel sick, but 5 minutes of running about in VR using WASD made me feel terrible for about half an hour. I've been too scared to return to it since. Back to the game, the ammo glows too. So although you get an ammo counter on your hand, I wonder if that's reserved for later, and for the first part of the game you've just got to count your ammo, literally, by hand. This is a healing station, and it uses the same sounds as Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 did. It's interesting that you have to give up one of your hands to use this machine, meaning your movement will be more limited, making this a vulnerable situation to be in. You sure wouldn't want to have to fight enemies in this state. Also, this looks like one of the antlion bugs seen in Half-Life 2 Episode 2. They'd give you health when you killed them, and if you focus on it in this sequence, you can see that it gets liquidated as you're healing. Poor thing. And the health is more sophisticated than just being 3 hit points. Looks like you can get smaller hearts as well to indicate smaller increments. It's nice to see more than one shadow being cast from this case on the ground. But not so good to see sharp looking shadows from what I assume is shrapnel from the explosion, meaning it treats this huge fireball as a single tiny point of light. Very high quality motion blur in this shot, which is generally used to smooth out motion. As the game should be running at more than 60 FPS, I expect the effect will be more subtle in actual gameplay. Also, the zombie's hand passes straight through the wall. And this is when the environment starts to change. You notice all this goo stuff oozing out from the vents. You'll see a lot more of that in the other parts of the trailer. What I think has happened is that, by coming to Earth, the Combine accidentally contaminated the world with this alien stuff. This will be a 3-way battle between you, the Combine, and the alien things. I've seen a few Combine with what looks like a canister on their backs. Maybe this is for flames or for some kind of poison to help clear buildings of this stuff, which seems to get everywhere. I think you'll be spending a lot of this game rummaging through debris for stuff. I have a few questions about ammo in this game. What happens if you pick up a stash of ammo? We see the player pick up 2 at a time here, which magically stack on top of each other to make for easy insertion into a shotgun. Are we going to see 2-handed weapons in this game, or is everything one-handed for convenience? Can you dual wield? Also, unlike the pistol, this gun shows its ammo on the back. What's with everything being sideways in this game? First the microwaves, now the TVs. If you look closely, you'll notice you're stood in an elevator in this scene. It was never made clear how organic these things were. They always seemed part animal and part machine, but these dangly bits indicate they're more animal this time round. A few nice things to point out here. Firstly,
I could search my own body. What the fuck?
I love the hairs on the head crabs. Second, what will it be like to be sucked up by one of these tongue things in VR? And third, there's a head crab in a toilet. You get a mix of blurry and sharp shadows, depending on how far from the surface the item is. This is nice to see, as it shows a more advanced lighting model than the real-time lighting seen in CSGO, for instance. Of course, that's assuming that Source 2's lighting is all in real time. Notice how all these Combine have canisters on their backs. Hello, good old van model. There's no sign of him yet, but Dog is guaranteed to make an appearance, isn't he? And there's got to be another fetch sequence where you pass and catch items thrown by him. Of all the speculation in this video, I am most confident about this. How can anybody working on this game not have gone back to this bit of Half-Life 2 and thought, wait, this is perfect for VR? And if for some reason you haven't done this, Valve, what are you waiting for? Get to work on it, go go go! Dog was one of the best bits of Half-Life 2, so much so that they found ways of cramming him into important bits in both episodes. And he's known Alex since she was a child.
Gordon, this is Dog. My dad built him to protect me when I was a kid. First model was about yay high. I've been adding to him ever since.
Of course he's going to be in this game, and when he shows up, I expect him to look less advanced than he did in Half-Life 2. I don't mind if Dog's cuter, as long as he can still murder people. Here you are being briefed on a mission. You can see a map of City 17, the Combine wall, and then what looks like a giant person in a suit. You can see the Australian guy here again, and I'm confident it's him in this room because you can see everything from another angle in this screenshot on the Half-Life website. You can even see the cup she places on the hologram, just here. We'll play this in slow motion so you can see all of the flaws with the physics in this game. I'm hoping you can play with and rummage through the bits of polystyrene found in these supply crates. Reflections! But I doubt it's ray traced. In fact, I don't even think it's using screen space reflections. At worst, it could even be using the same old cube mapped reflections seen in Half-Life 2, but maybe with the sort of parallax trick seen in CSGO's new lunacy level. A lot of the stuff seen here is from the Zen world from Half-Life 1. I think this shows a late stage infestation of one of the houses in City 17. Like how Half-Life 2 had different chapters, I expect this alien contamination to be one, with it ending somewhere super disgusting like we can see here.
You are not Satan.
Another shot of the VR puzzle games, this time really obviously using 3D space. I'm going to assume you use your gravity gloves to steal a grenade from a Combine soldier here. And I'm going to speculate that you can physically rip head crabs off zombies, and that's why there's this new armoured, poisonous looking one, which you won't be able to deal with in the same way. Also, this head crab's really cute. It clearly hasn't seen sunlight in a long time. And I hope I'm not the only one who can't wait to stick my hand into this zombie's chest cavity and to wiggle it about. The future of gaming is here. This is the same gun the Australian guy almost killed you with earlier in the trailer, but it now has some new side attachment. Will this be a jump scare near the end of the contamination episode of the game? Whatever this dude is, he's wearing the same stuff as the enemy in the next clip, who can seem to summon lightning and send it travelling along the ground towards you. I really respect the new antlion models. I thought they were one of the best looking creatures in Half-Life 2, but now they have glowing, translucent limbs that can be shot off and stray hairs sticking out everywhere, like everything else in this game it seems.
Close your eyes, honey.
Also, they recommend you play Half-Life 2 Episode 2 first before playing this one, for reasons that will become apparent later.
Close your eyes, honey.
It's hard to do this without spoiling anything, but in Episode 2 there's one bit where Eli shouts this.
Close your eyes, honey.
And in the trailer for Half-Life Alyx, there's this.
Close your eyes, honey.
Which hints that it may conclude whatever started in Episode 2, even though that was set after Half-Life 2. They can't have just thrown that hint into the trailer to troll people, not after keeping their fanbase waiting for 12 years. And then a look at the floating ship, which I'm sure must be this game's equivalent of the Citadel, and where Alex's mission must eventually lead. And there's G-Man. Here he is in Half-Life 2. Here is how they compare. The new one has nice fuzzy hair. To save you some time, I watched the 22-minute interview. This is how I interpreted what they said, but it might not be how they wanted to convey it. I think the past decade at Valve has been used to develop Source 2 and to figure out how to use VR. It seems they've spent the last 4.5 years on Half-Life Alyx, and that the VR came first, with Half-Life being chosen for it because they decided its theme and gameplay worked best with it. What's been going on at Valve for the past 10 years will be revealed in the final hours, released next year, where they talk about their tests with VR, the lab, and all of the cancelled games that served as stepping stones, ultimately leading to Half-Life Alyx. With this game, they started by making a 15-minute demo using Half-Life 2 tech, and people ended up spending 45 minutes in it. From this, they saw that VR could be so much more immersive, and it led to player behaviours they hadn't seen before. From this small test, they learned what was important in VR and what wasn't, notably being the graphics. And from their testing and experimentation, it naturally grew into a bigger game and is now roughly the same length as Half-Life 2. More than 50 people have been working full-time in secrecy on it. I got the impression that calling it Half-Life 3 was too much pressure, but they hinted that they liked the idea of producing more stuff for the Half-Life series, depending on how this game was received. They say mouse and keyboard would lose so much of what makes this project special, as it has been built from the ground up to be VR. Trying it on mouse and keyboard would almost be like watching
Вон он упырь!